Well, what's happening? What's happening? It's good to see everybody this morning. We got a strong starting 12 on one of the greatest books ever written, truly about the industry that majority of us are involved in. And I am excited to really dive in today because I've been talking about this book all week. And literally, as I've chopped it up with people who have done the reading this week, the first response is, "Oh my God, this book is so amazing." And this is exactly what we've been on. And it reminded me of my story. And it's literally been like that with everybody. So if you have not gotten the chance to read this thing, if you haven't ordered it online, if you haven't looked it up on Amazon or any of these other spaces, slide right to the student suite, click on the digital library, go into the network marketing folder, and grab Beach Money. Yes, baby.
I ride on my bike with pedals.
I'm so proud of you. Give me 1 second to finish talking, okay? So, with that, today we are going to go through chapters 1 through 5. We're going to run it up. I'm excited to hear what everybody really has for the vibes. So, with that being said, I know Nito popped in here. He's one of the first two people on the Zoom call, and he asked if he could go first because he's helping a friend move. So, Nito, are you free to kick us off today, sir?
Yeah, bro, most definitely.
Betty, let's get it then. Go ahead, brother. You got the flow.
Well, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I know I'm starting off mine pretty active, which is always good. But yeah, man, this book, honestly, off the rip, was, you know, excuse my language, but a damn good book so far, man. And in the first couple of chapters, I've noticed it really just talks about him and his, I guess you could say, before the big break, I guess you could say, and how all the trials and tribulations that he went through, and how he had, everybody telling him, that he was dumb for doing this, that it was a pyramid scheme, and it wasn't worth it. He wasn't making money out of it, and how after the first company he joined, he kind of caught that bug of being able to realize that he could make some beach money, and uh there's let me see. There's one thing in here that he says, and obviously we say it a lot, you know, uh, that he believes that always you get what you focus on and put your energy into, which is true, and and obviously, the first things first is your mindset as well. You know what I'm saying? If you're able to get your mind right and you know put your focus and energy into things, eventually those dreams and inspirations will come to fruition. And it just talks about how, I feel like we're the same person, you know what I'm saying? We've had people tell us that this was a dumb thing. We've, you know, I've had companies, left companies and, and done other things in the realm of entrepreneurship. And, at the end of the day, like we at the end of the day, it's not how many times you fall, but it's how many times you can get back up. And I know in chapter 3, I had this quote. It says, "The most successful authors would say that if you want to create something great in your life, you must first write it down, like an architect writes out his plans to build a building." And that's facts. I mean, even in the realm of sports, man. I mean, you don't you don't come up to a game without a game plan. You know what I mean? Or you don't even moving stuff, like, what I mean? I feel like you definitely have to think about what you're gonna take first and what you're like gonna knock out first, and then take the easy stuff last, or so on and so forth. And I definitely think writing it down is definitely that first step. We always talk about it. It's definitely that first step to actually making it a reality. And um and he talks about how he went to the Grand Canyon, and and sat down by a tree and started just writing down, if money was an option, and write it as if it already happened. And 7 years later, he throws the book away. The book got wet because it started raining on him, and he's moving 7 years later, and everything in that journal has came true. And it's crazy to think back and look back at how, he basically brought it to life. You know what I mean? And it's cool, having that memory of like, damn, like I wrote this 7 years ago, and it's, you know, even me, Matt, and Marcus talk about it all the time. Like, man, just wait. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just still on the journey. You know what I mean? And every time we toast, we always toast a better life. More life, because I know in the future that's what we're gonna be living. You know what I'm saying? And also breaking barriers and breaking chains, and helping as many people as we can. And it's dope to look back and see everything come to fruition. And but yeah, man, in the last chapter, um, he talks about going to sitting in the front row of every convention, every seminar, every class, because you know that's where, I forgot how he says it, but basically that's where people that sit in the front kind of make the most money. And it's crazy that he takes people that are in the entrepreneurship with him, like his partners and stuff, and introduces them to the speakers. And all of a sudden, you know, now he's invite getting invited to dinners and sitting with the entrepreneurs and the people that make 60,000 a month. And we always say you start to become the people you hang around the most. And it's definitely a blessing, even here, being around, even though a lot of us aren't six-figure earners yet, but I know we definitely will be. The fact that we're around like-minded individuals that shoot for the same stars and are planning to land on the moon, it helps, with the journey. You know what I mean? And it's just it's dope to see, that, yeah, a lot of us are different, but at the same time, a lot of us are the same. So yeah, that's what I got off the first 5 chapters. It's dope, man. I'm ready to read the rest of the book, and hope and start making some beach money. But Mikhail, I know you said you had to go off soon, bro. I don't know if you want to take over.
Nah, it's all good, man. I'll let a couple people get in here real quick. I got till 11:45, so I'm smooth for
Okay,
45 minutes.
all right.
So pull up the
Cam,
info, my friend.
Cam, you want to go, bro?
Yeah, I can go. Funny enough, I actually read the book this time. I'm not getting left behind in this time. How we doing, guys? So, a couple of things that I got from this book is kind of piggybacking off what Nito said. He went and sat at the Grand Canyon, but he sat for like 3, almost 4 hours just at this tree. And he like completely lost himself in this future version of himself that he was trying to create. And one of the things he said was that I lost myself in my future life, but as I wrote it, I began to live it in my mind as if it had already happened. And then later I would realize this is the most important moment of the whole journey, which to me basically means write it down, make sure it's in a place you can see it. And when all else fails, when everything else fails in life, look back at that list. And that is something that like I've done in the past, and I got really good at writing my goals and dreams down just from like being in really down and out positions in my own life, and being in a position where I couldn't really take care of myself or take care of anyone else, let alone. And the only thing I could do is sit and envision the future life that I wanted for myself. Because as real as it is, I've had 7 heart surgeries and I haven't like done a whole lot in my life, but I want to. So the only thing you can do in those times is journal out what exactly you want. And Me and my dad put this to the test like 3 years ago without even like I didn't even realize it. But we put it to the test and I got a bunch of whiteboards and now this was like the first time I ever actually like built what I wanted for my life. And it worked to a T to a point where everything that I'm living currently right now, I wrote on the whiteboard as I like freshly got out of surgery 7. So it kind of makes sense to me. And then the other thing that he said was set aside all your fears, doubts, and apprehensions about what's possible and just write it as if you were a child again, dreaming from your heart. And then write and reread it until your entire life is exactly how you want. And then continue to read 1 or 2 pages a night for about a year. And then that's when he throws it in the box. So that was a couple of things that I personally got from it, just because, like I said, like I always say, I'm not in a position that I want to be in. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are right now, but it's coming. And it's coming because we're all taking the active steps to make sure it happens. So, yeah. With that, I think I'm gonna pass it to Imani. I think I'm gonna pass it to you.
Good morning, everybody. I hope y'all are all having a fantastic Saturday. It's a beautiful day outside, so enjoy it. Thanks for passing it to me, Cam. This book is cool. So far, so good. I'm definitely liking the whole beach vibe. I'm actually um, been in a place of this in recently. So, I mean, there's no coincidences. This is definitely happening the way that it should be. Um, but Cam, that's crazy. Seven surgeries. I just have to like 7 heart surgeries. Glad you're here. Glad you're kicking it. You should definitely like it. Do what you want to do. Because if you can handle that, you can handle anything. I think that's really important about like these kind of books is kind of putting us in a place where we're seeing life at this even higher perspective than we're already like and not just you, like in general. Like what I've noticed is like anytime I'm reading these books, it kind of makes me remember something incredible that I've done in the past, and it gives me like more hope, more motivation, like inspiration to keep pushing because you just never know what can happen. And this book, I mean, one of the first things he said was like how people he knew would be working and they all of a sudden have this like huge change of career, or like their company shut down or their company downsized and they lost out on money from this linear kind of income. And a lot of people did not believe in this man's dreams or goals. And I'm sure everybody on this call has been through that, where we tell somebody like, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing. We're excited about it. It makes us happy. And then the next thing you know, that person that we were so excited to tell just kind of like shuts us down. And that has happened to me so much. I've heard that phrase, don't tell people your plans until they're fully developed or something like that. And it's really important, and that's what he talks about. Like he would tell his family and his friends, and he'd get excited, and they would be like, "Oh, that's a scheme. That you're not going to get rich off of that." But it's like coming from the same people who won't be in that position because they don't believe. And that was what he said in chapter 1. I made a note of it. I didn't make a note. I made a mental note of it. Anyways, so he said, that you obviously won't pursue opportunities that pay you beach money, and therefore you will never have it. If you don't believe it's possible, whatever background you have, you're just going to be stuck in that mind if you're like working a regular job or a traditional business. And that was super powerful because, you know, when I've talked to people in the past about like these high ambitions and these dreams, you know, a lot of people do doubt and they'll say things, and you really just can't allow that to come through if you want to get paid the beach money, you know? So, um, you know, just living paycheck to paycheck is a lot of people's realities, and a lot of people don't exist out of that reality. So books like this can like break that wall that you can be on the other side and you'll be making the money that you want to make, but it does take effort. And that's what he was saying, like 10 plus years just to have all the things that he's dreamed. I've kept a journal my entire life because, you know, I just be having a lot of stuff going on in here. And sometimes writing is the only way that I can get it out. And it wasn't until I got into Powerful Creator, shout out to Amber. It wasn't until I got into Powerful Creator where, you know, Amber straight up told me, the first thing she ever told me before I even got into PC was, have your dreams, do everything you want. Now it's done, and work backwards from there. And when she said that, that just kind of like started to be it just started me on this journey of like, holy crap, like I've literally been doing that, and it's kind of been putting me into deeper and deeper details about this. And another thing she said was write down all the desires that you want. And whether it's the person that you want, the life that you want, the business that you want, write it down. And so I started to write all these things down. And one of the things I wanted, I'm from California, y'all, and I moved to Austin about 4 years ago. I didn't have a lot of friends when I first got here. Now, you know, I have Amber, I have other friends, and I've met you guys, and it's been amazing. And I don't think I really would have had this life if I didn't kind of just forget what everybody was saying and just like move, you know? And I even had some people tell me later down the years that they were like, oh, I was expecting you to come back. Like, well, thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for the belief. And that's why it's really important to believe in yourself and create that momentum through people and people you meet who are like-minded, because it really does help. Ever since I got into PC, I've had so many more like-minded individuals that when I share my dreams and I share my goals, it's greeted with compassion, love, and respect, not doubt and fears put on me from other people. But one thing I wrote down was I wanted to be able to go home, visit California whenever I want, and spend as much quality time with the people I love while I can. You know, like any chance I get, I really didn't get to visit home as often, maybe like once, twice a year. And that was really hard to be away from family for that long. But I wrote it down. I said that I wanted to do it. I ended up losing my job this year, which is another thing tied into this book. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. I got into a horrible car accident last year that like really changed my life. I almost died. And like me writing this down was this like belief that I can go home and visit my family for as long as I want to. So a couple months ago, well, not a couple months ago, like what, in May, I drove myself to California and I stayed till like I got back to Austin July 1st. So I was able to live that. And it happens in such a short time. I don't think it was one of those. I think it was one of those things. It was like, okay, this is what you wanted. You made it happen because you wrote it, you believed in it, and now it's done. And then I enjoyed myself. I had a great time. So it's like those moments. I like this book is great. Like the hesitant, not you know, just like creating those memories or creating those, not creating because it's already created, it really, shout out to Power of Awareness, but writing them down and like living them is great. So I'm feeling this book, excited to listen to the rest. I don't know who has gone or who has not gone. I'm just gonna popcorn whoever wants to be popcorn. Just pop up.
I want to go. Oh, Mikhail, do you want to go? Because you got to go. Okay, I'm gonna go.
You gotta go.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Money. I'm love y'all. Love this book. So grateful to be here. Let me get into the zone over here. So, beach money. One, I'm really, really excited for us to specifically be reading a personal development book. One of my mentors said a long time ago, like, when it comes to just personal development, basically what he was saying was like, you have to study the specific area like that you're like want to be successful in, because he had asked me like what books I was reading at the time, and I was like reading like Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he's like, why are you reading that like right now? And he wasn't suggesting that it wasn't a good book, but if I want to get better at network marketing, then he's like, you should read books about network marketing. And that made a lot of sense. So that's why I'm excited to be reading this book specifically, you know, to expand our knowledge in this specific area. One of the chapters that hit me in the first couple chapters, she was talking about his story and just like overcoming and never ever giving up, like no matter what. And honestly, it reminded me, I'd highlighted this one situation, I think when he was talking about his dad and like fighting with his dad. I remember like in the beginning when I first started network marketing, I was like so passionate, so like ignorant on fire, because I just got it. Like I got it. It made sense to me. Like I saw it, I saw the opportunity, and I was like, yes. Like automatically. And I really could not fathom why no one else thought the same thing. And I didn't even think that no one else thought the same thing, but I just remember like going home and being like, obviously everyone, I'm talking, guys, I was delusional. We're talking about ignorance on fire. Like I literally was I was driving down the hallway coming home from one of my driving down the highway coming back from one of my first
hallway.
And I remember literally like being concerned for like the economy. Like I remember driving down and like looking at the stores and being like, who's gonna work at the stores and do that? Because everybody is just gonna do network marketing and like we're all gonna be millionaires. Like I'm like, I'm so serious. So whenever I had like introduced it to my family, and my family was just like no, like we're not like doing that. I literally took it so personal. I was like so like what, like my attitude, like I remember getting in fights with my parents because now looking back, I remember the reason why I was so passionate at the time and I didn't make sense is because my family and like what we had like grown up through, like our life was a big reason why I wanted to do it in the first place. And I remember saying that, like literally just being like, we don't have any money. Like why aren't y'all doing this? Like literally, like we haven't traveled, we haven't done anything like as a family, like, you know, like we've always talked about wanting more, and I'm bringing this opportunity to us, and y'all are just like not doing it. Like it just it like I was just so like I didn't get it. But over time, I realized and I learned, you know, there's more, you know, it's like a lot more things like going on in people's lives. And it makes sense now looking back that my parents were not in a place to like be doing network marketing specifically. And that was something that like that was for me, you know? And so that's one thing that I learned like throughout my journey too, is like it isn't one of my other mentors, Ed Blunt, had said this. He was like, because at the time we were in a company called World Ventures, and he's like, World Ventures is for everybody, but not everybody is for World Ventures. And I was like, oh. And basically, he was just emphasizing like you really have to listen to people when you're talking to them and really see what's going on in their lives, and like if this is something that they could really like take on and like are about, you know. Because I remember I had like introduced him to my cousin, and I wanted my cousin to get on board. And then he was like, Ember, like I talked to your cousin, and he was like, she wants to be a DJ. She doesn't want to do this stuff. She has no interest in being an entrepreneur. And I was like, but so like it makes sense. It's just the growth is real. Okay. So chapter 3, OBS. I want to talk about the exercise. Definitely recommend everybody definitely do that. Like I honestly, I don't know, I was getting really emotional whenever he was talking about his story. Like whenever I was reading about him just being in there and like being in in that desire and really like playing it out like full throttle. Being able to imagine your life like that and being able to be specific is a skill that I do feel like all of us just really continuously like document things that you want. Like whenever we're out in life and we're experiencing it and we're putting ourselves in positive environments, pay attention like in your life whenever we're out here and you're experiencing something that you like, and write it down, like be aware of what it is that's going on so we can add it to what it is that we're creating for ourselves. A lot of times when we think about the things that we want, sometimes it's hard for us to think about it because we're not used to thinking about it. But now that we're in this space, we know the power of really being clear on what we want and like believing for it. That's one thing that I would like just really suggest. And I think what he talked about is just, using your imagination and like adding those desires to like your toolbox, which is your journals, and, writing it down and like being clear. So whenever, honestly, like whenever you have the money to be able to buy yourself whatever it is that you want, or like get yourself like the experience, like you're ready for it, it puts you in a place of expectation, right? Puts you in the vibration of like, no, like I'm gonna be able to experience this, like a simple example would be like, I know my size in Louboutins because I'm gonna walk up in there and buy my Louboutin shoes. I expect to be able to buy them. So I'm ready to buy them because I know exactly what size and exactly which ones I want. And that's something that I pushed myself to like believe and imagine for, so it could be something like as simple as that. But I know all of us like talked about the exercise. Definitely recommend as well. And I also like how he like used the how to win friends and influence people principles. He's like, it's like I'll consider writing this story. He didn't like to tell us what to do. He like suggested for us to do it. Okay, chapter 4, real quick. I 100% started crying at the end of chapter 4 because he's talking about going to the events, and one he did like drop a gem in there about sitting in the front, and he talked about leaders sit in the front, the people who make the most money sit in the front, and that is a really, really good principle that, I recommend like all of us just take note in, is like putting yourself in the front, putting yourself in a place of like knowing that there's just so many levels of why that's valuable, like you're able to pay attention, you're able to be right there, you're also like right next to the other people, like it's putting you in a place of like, this is like of intention of like why I'm here to get what I'm receiving, I'm not afraid. Like there's so much like psychological things that go to that, besides also just being in the front and being next to the leaders who have what you want. And whatever he talked about, he says, I brought them to the front of the room and we sat in the front. I have read that people who sit in the front row make the most money. I sat in the front row at every event I go to, seminars, meetings, and business opportunities. Although I never met him, I introduced my guest to him as if we knew each other. A couple weeks later, I attended a tour that had the 5 of the top earners speaking on stage. Once again, I sat in the front row, and at the end of the event, I took my guests to meet each of the speakers. I acted as if they were my 5 closest friends. I continued doing this for 6 months. That's something we got to do. And I like that. And I've seen that, like literally I've seen I've seen leaders do that. And there's times where like I've done that, and it really does like put you in a place of like familiarity. And that's what he says. He's like, over time, I started to like get familiar. I started to get invited. I started to stand out. He's like, I was just starting out. Let's see, my consistent attendance in the front row and my insistence on introducing my guests to the speakers gave me some notoriety. I was invited by one of the top earners to join him and the others for dinner at that meeting. This is like one of the big reasons why going to the events is so important. Like there's so many levels of why being around the people who have what you want literally raises your vibration, like on a psychological level, a spiritual level. But when we go to the events and we allow ourselves to know these people and like really put ourselves there, I can't like even begin to explain how beneficial it is. But I will say, I remember the reason why I got emotional is because I remember being around this leader who I just admired and I still admire to this day. Her name is Wanda Webb. And I've seen her multiple times and I've like saw her speaking. I just like resonate with her like so much, just feel like we're the same person. And I remember one time going to like another event and we had like this mansion. It was like me and like a whole like art team, and we were like at this like mansion. And Wanda Webb and her husband like came, and they were just hanging out with us, and we were all just like talking and like hanging out. And of course, I was like, but I was playing it cool, you know, I was chill. And I remember like we were talking personally, and at the end when she was leaving, she was like, "Here, take my phone number." And I remember, dude, and this is where I started to cry a little bit because I was like, I could tell the difference between like what I was thinking then and now. I remember like telling her like, no, like I don't need your phone number. It's fine. Like I have, you know, like access like different groups and stuff. And I started to cry because I remember in that moment, the reason why I didn't want her phone number was because I didn't feel worthy enough of like receiving it. Like I didn't feel like I had anything to say. Like I remember like thinking like, I don't like you, like you don't need to talk to me. Like I'm good, but that like wasn't true. But she like insisted. She was like she literally like I remember her eyebrows like being like, no, like take my phone number. And I took her phone number, and I just remember that moment because it just made me reflect. Like I just remember like oh my gosh, like I just sat here and like talked to her for a long time, and I just like, oh my, I have access like to these people, like, you know, like a real moment, like with God, like I am special, like I can do this, like. So that's what chapter 4 reminded me of, and that's really all I wanted to share. Chapter 5, we talked about public speaking and his fear of public speaking. Just do it. That's basically what I got from that. Is like, just go out there and do it. Like, you are going to be afraid, you know. Oh, that's what I wanted to say about chapter 5 is like, when it comes to public speaking and practicing your voice, these calls are a really good opportunity to do that, because we're literally practicing our voice. Like, we're showing up and we're speaking and we're allowing ourselves to be heard, and we're practicing like what we have to say. And so because that's what chapter 5 was about, was like his journey through public speaking. And he's like, I was so afraid to speak that day. Yeah. It's like, at that moment, I completely lost my train of thought and forgot my speech. My biggest nightmare had come true, but it all turned out fine. The crowd had a good laugh. I had a chance to be on stage with the top earners, and most of all, it was the experience of a lifetime. It was the beginning of a rich career in training and speaking. I have since had the opportunity to train and speak all over the world. And all of us are speakers. All of us are leaders. All of us have value to give and have something to say. And we just have to believe that and know that, continuously practice. But that's what I got from these first chapters. Okay, who wants to go next? Mikhail, now do you want to go next? Because you're meeting.
Well, one, golden bars for you and everybody else who's gone so far. Shout out, y'all. This book has definitely been one of them, and so is this discussion already so far. It's actually lit. Watching everybody really have like their own personal stories of like connection to this book is honestly really dope. It's kind of crazy. So myself, I've been reading this thing this morning, so I haven't had the cries moments of this week, but definitely your boy started to tear up too. I was like, whoa, that sounds like the beginning of my journey. And there are a few things I wanted to point out, just like shit is crazy. One of the first things though is, in the beginning, I think this is chapter 1 or chapter 2, it's on page 27. But he talks about like all the money he was spending. I spent all this money at events. In there, I don't know if y'all caught this part, and I just really wanted to point this out. But he said, this is actually crazy. Hold on. I'm going to just go back to 26 so I can read the sentence prior to. So he said, boop, boop, by this time I'd spent about $10,000 on startup fees and products. Okay, boom. Now, this latest company told me to get on the audio tape of the week and book of the month programs, which cost about $40 per month. Let me ask everybody a question real fast. Does anybody pay $40 a month to hop on this damn call? To have access to the digital library? No. Y'all literally all get a free coupon code to join this app, which we real life do not have to give out. And as you can tell in this book, there's a lot of people around the world that do systems like these, but they make their people pay for it. I just really quick wanted to actually like take a second to real life, like let everybody know the environment that we have cultivated here and what we have created here is something that is sought after from the top of the top people on the planet. But also at the same time, we give it to you at a price point that can't nobody else touch. They don't have digital libraries and all this other stuff. They literally have to pay for these platforms. Me and Marcus literally pay for Zoom every single month. For both of our Zooms to do all of the team calls on. We don't make you guys pay us for that because why? We know the vision that we're headed to. And when he was talking about doing things that are impossible, I was like, yo, shout out TGF because we're really about to go do 1,000 members before the end of the summer. So I'm excited, truly, because I've been dead set on it. We're about to pack this whole out. So I'm excited to max out all these Zoom calls. But I just real quick wanted to let everybody know, like, bro, don't take this space for granted because you go anywhere else and you won't get this value unless you pay for it. Period. You see, he was literally paying for this thing, and over that time, I mean, what? He said he spent about $30,000 on his education up until that point. Like, he wasn't actively investing in himself. Y'all, our investment here that we literally ask all of our members for is so minimal, it's actually crazy. And sometimes me and Marcus have gone between the fact of like, maybe that's why at different times we feel like some of us always take it for granted. But I truly want to step in this season unified on the same vision, understanding that what we have is invaluable. As in, you can't put a price tag on what we've been able to create here. It'd be too high for anybody else to afford, period. If they got access to the archive of the last 2.5, 3 years that we've been doing this book club for, man, I'm telling you, bro, there's a wealth of knowledge within what we've been able to create. All the books that we've been able to really dive into, all of the perceptions of the entire organization that has been on for all of these individual books. There is so much value that it's invaluable. Literally, majority of these book clubs that people are paying $40 a month for, there's one guy talking about their perception and you just get to sit there and take notes. Maybe there's 3 or 4 people talking. It's not like a, hey, let's just clear out our time for Saturday morning. Let's all go vibe out and let's actually pay attention to everybody's perception. Let's actually go dive into what everybody's actually thinking and take it to that next level. So that part was huge. And I just really quick wanted to like dive in on that just because this is what we have here. And I just felt like as I was reading, I almost breezed right past it. And then I had to go back and reread that. Like, damn, he said he paid $40 a month for a book club, but we really do that every single week on top of everything else that we do every single day. We got a piece of value popping in to your life 7 days a week here in TGF Network. So with that, man, I'm just grateful for what we've been able to create. Had to say it, you know, I say it every Saturday. But with that being said, the next note, honestly, for me, the beginning of his story screamed to me, man. It was really wild just going through all those years of like barely making any money. Because truth be told, in my journey in World Ventures, my very first company that I had success in, and honestly, I don't even really count Amway. I was in Amway for all of 14 days, y'all, when I first turned 18. But with that, got started in World Ventures. My first year, say less. My first year, we did numbers, but like pay wise, like as a director in World Ventures, bro, you didn't make more than $750 a month. And that was like at your height if you were also getting your car bonus too. Car bonus 300, residual about 450. As a director with 180 people in your organization, you do 180 over here, you're making close to $5,000 a month. It's a little different. But with that being said, as we were going through that season, it was like I was barely making the money, but we were also able to live a crazy lifestyle. So I heard that house of cards. I heard all of the other bull crap that he was hearing as well for years upon years upon years upon years. I'll never forget it. And when he had that moment that he was talking about where he was like, you know what, I finally felt like I could go and do the impossible and I'm a leader from here on out and I'm going to attract more leaders. I will never forget momentum of 2020. Like never in my life. I will never forget that shit. Brings me to tears right now. I could show y'all a highlight of being at that event. It's literally Alabama on my highlights. You go look at it, you will see a moment in there where all of a sudden it went from like, we're excited at the event to I'm tears falling down my face fanatically, 2 phones in my hand outside on the back porch of the actual arena, just making calls because I had a moment inside and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, excuse my language, but I was like, dude, I gotta go crazy, bro. Like, there's no way that I'm going into another year and I'm not getting every single thing that I fucking want. There's no way that I'm going into this next season struggling like I've been struggling. There's no way that I will not go lead my people to the promised land. Like, period. Makes me cry right now because I remember the powerful, like, just the power in that moment. They dropped a promo. That's what was crazy. It wasn't even like everything changed or nothing. They dropped a small promo. And with that, I was like, yo, this just made it accessible. And it really just came down to me thinking that I could do it. Like, it didn't matter the price point. Anybody can afford $100. Anybody can afford $25. It doesn't matter. What matters is your perception of what's actually going on. And with that, as soon as I changed my perception, y'all, literally within 24 hours, we put in 60 personals within 7 days. We put in 240 people, damn near all personally, in a week. Who the fuck does that in a week? This is way before TikTok and Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't out here shooting out DMs. Cameron got a call that weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody got a call that weekend. It was not a fucking game. And I wasn't showing people. I was telling people, this is the season. I'm going to lead whoever wants to come to the promised land. And yo, here's the deal. I'm going to send you a link. Read it real quick and get started with me right now. I'm going to walk you through it. I wasn't asking. I was telling. And when you tell somebody to do, you kind of know where you're going. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, as we are all in this like journey of success in this industry specifically, there will be a point in time where you go from asking to telling. Then you'll have a little mid-season where you go from telling to suggesting. And you'll realize that your momentum will kind of slow down a little bit. And then you'll get back into telling mode, and it hits different, y'all, because truly, this is where I've been recently. Like, as we got into Infinity economy, I got that dog back. Like, it felt like that first day again, like, yo, we can really go and do this for real, for real. Like, we can actually go and get everything that we've been talking about for the last 2 years. Not a game at all whatsoever. So I'm excited, man. And it definitely hit home as I was reading because it's just really wild. And ultimately, he also talked about like when he was going through that same, when people were talking the mess, all the things, you'll never make money at that. I can't believe you paid money to get into that. All of that. It reminded me of a show I was watching last night. Shout out Blood of Zeus, anime show on Netflix. Literally was watching that thing from like the hours of 2:30. Like 2:30 to 4 a.m. is like TV time for Mikhail. It's the only time I can shut my brain off and just not, you know what I'm saying, have to like be in business mode because I ain't getting no DMs back at 2:30 and I ain't sending no DMs at 2:30. Like, it's a vibe, so I could just chill. And so in that, there was a moment in like the big season finale of season 1 where Zeus is teaching his son, Heron, how to like actually like tap into his personal power. And ultimately, as they're going through the training, he's like, Heron just keeps getting mad. And as I was reading this part, everything I kept hearing in my head was Zeus saying, turn away from your anger, look inward. Turn away from your anger, look inward. And he had a moment where he was like, yo, Heron, you use your anger as strength. And I want you to take a real life personal look really quick and just ask yourself, when you hear the crap of the doubt, are you using your anger as strength? Like, is that where your power in this industry comes from? Is that where the chip on your shoulder comes from? People telling you you can't do it. People telling you you'll never be anything. You constantly listening to and thinking about the doubt and the stress and the trauma. And literally this was happening in the show. Every single time that he was hitting somebody or trying to get through a moment, it would bring up a past memory and he would just go through the trauma again or focus on the anger. And in that, at the very end of the season finale, he literally remembers that moment. He stops getting mad. He becomes completely calm. And he literally summons lightning and blasts this dude's head off in his hand. It was crazy. But with that, he had never done that before. Moral of the story is this. If you stop getting mad and stop moving with the chip on your shoulder like I need to do this to prove everybody wrong, and you just start doing it to prove yourself right, and you look inward and you become so calm that you know exactly where you need to go, you will get into that telling mode, period, just like Jordan did. And as we all talked about literally from last night, if you were on the Big Shot call, big shout out Donnie Dropout, because he literally had us all do the exercise that Jordan was talking about in the book. He had us literally set a timer for 20 minutes, think about if money was not an obstacle, if you could be, do, and have anything that you wanted, what would it be? Take 20 minutes and write out 101 goals. I didn't get 101. I got 32 though. I've added to a couple since last night. It was 30 last night. But literally, y'all, like we were just going in and writing our goals. And you'll be surprised at yourself on what actually motivates you as you really go and read this list. Because I was reading and I was like, damn, I'm not really actually trying to make a whole bunch of money out here. Like I am, but like that is not where my focus and goals are. Truth be told, all of these goals were like time goals. They were not money goals. They were not materialistic goals. They were like, I want to spend time doing this. I want to invest my time doing this. I want to invest my time doing this. I want to invest my time doing this. I want to create a schedule. I want to invest my time here. I want to invest my time here. There were a few things, you know what I'm saying? I need that DB12, Aston Martin SUV, you know what I'm saying? I definitely need the things too. But ultimately, it was about the time. And it's just lovely, bro, because ultimately I've done this exercise plenty of, like, I got 32 goals right here. I got an envelope that says do not open before September 4th, 2046 that I wrote back in 2021 right here. I still know the goals that are in here. I got a whole notebook right down here full of goals. Did this journey event as well. We wrote down 50 goals in 20 minutes as well. Marcus Setta made us do that. So I've done this over the years, and you guys have been present on a lot of calls where I've gotten out these books and I've read these things, and it's exactly what we've been doing over the last couple of years. So as Cameron said, I'll second that. It works, y'all. If you do, period. Write it down and go take intentional steps on the things that you want to do. If y'all hear me talk about a job ever, like I promise you, you won't. You won't ever hear me saying I gotta get hired somewhere. You won't ever. I've been saying this for a decade now. If it ain't passive, I don't want it. Period. I don't want to build shit that's not residual. If it's not paying me every month, I don't want to do it, bro. Period. Point blank. That's all it is. Unless it's an investment. You know what I'm saying? I'll make a couple flips here and there, but literally I started getting back away from being a graphic and web designer because it wasn't paying residual income. I started getting tired of doing the same thing over and over again, getting the same check over and over again. I was like, no, I need to do something once and get paid for it. So ultimately, y'all, this book is right on time. The principles that it teaches work. The systems work. The industry works. As you can tell, literally every other page, there's a testimonial of somebody literally living their dreams. There's a lot of people that have been able to make everything that they ever wanted happen. There's no difference between them and you except intentionality. Period. So let's get it. Appreciate y'all. I'm gonna pass it to Marcus because we got this call. I'm sorry for going a little over, bro. Hey, I'll clear some space for you on the call if you need like 2 minutes.
That man went in. You know what I'm saying? I don't blame him though. There's a reason why he's been in the industry for an entire decade. And high key, y'all, we got a lot of access when you fully recognize like the power of the industry. And I absolutely love network marketing. I'm not gonna lie, as frustrating and annoying and difficult as it is to get off the ground, it is literally one of the most amazing ways in which average people can live an above average lifestyle. And all it takes is a lot of belief, conviction, and resilience. Like if you have a willingness to go and figure it out, you'll figure it out. I think the resounding message that I got from the first 5 chapters was that individuals will believe the story you tell. It's completely up to you on how you tell the story. But at the end of the day, what you tell gets adapted and believed by those around you. Yesterday, I ran into an individual I hadn't seen since high school. I've never talked to the man in a minute. We never interacted really much on Facebook or Instagram. And essentially because we have been operating as if things have already been done, the man was kind of choked up trying to talk to me, didn't know how to express how he had been seeing exactly what we've been doing as an organization through Facebook. Moral of the story was I was just trying to reconnect with my boy because I used to play football with him. You know what I'm saying? So it was honestly wild, but you get into these spaces because you honestly break the mold of what most people think about because you expose yourself to what is greater. I think one of the biggest things that stood out to me in chapter 3, y'all, there's a lot of big things that I highlighted, but this is what resounded most to me from chapter 3, and it really like brought a lot of stuff together throughout the chapters. And I highlighted them in green because I felt like I could relate to most to them. So he says, I could not let go of the dream of having a large passive residual income. And after he said that, he did not say for the money or anything in regards to materialism. He said, I could not let go of the dream of having a large passive residual income that would give me the freedom to travel, have fun, and play all over the world. Dang. For those who knew about World Ventures, we had it really good. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea that I was getting in this industry. You know what I'm saying? What was wild to me listening to Jordan's story is this man like read a book about it and then was actively looking for a vehicle that was quote unquote his home. And the entire time as he was searching for it, he found out more about himself and became the person that allowed what he was doing to go and generate the income he was looking for. And it wasn't just for a dollar sign amount. It was genuinely so that he could live a lifestyle that he dreamed of. On the next page, he wrote, I have had all the nasty experiences that people talk about. I'm not going to get crazy emotional, but it's wild because I genuinely have been through a lot of this, but I've been patronized, made fun of, and ignored by the people closest to me. I've joined companies that have folded and spent thousands of dollars on products or knowledge that no one else seemed to want. But for some reason, I kept bouncing back. And the subtitle in all caps for the next section was, I never gave up on my dream. And it's wild because I really felt like there was multiple times where I was about to literally give up. And you'll hear the top industry leaders. It doesn't matter if it's network marketing or not, but when you go after a goal or a dream that's worthwhile, like you're gonna get to points where I call them pivot points, fork in the road moments, turn back moments where you either decide to keep going or you quit, and there's no other option other than those two options. And what was amazing to see is that this man had spent 10,000, 30,000, 50,000, a lot of bread to eventually start making more on a passive monthly residual income. And I remember when I started out in the industry and people did not understand why I was paying for something that could provide that type of income eventually, because majority of the time, majority of your career is going to be in the red where you're getting extremely underpaid and overworked until the flip switches. And I've always told myself, and even from the beginning, like you can ask Nito, my mom, Matt, like people that I would show World Ventures to back in the day and never wanted to do anything like this with me. But eventually found the avenue here with actual financial literacy and growing, that I told them all the time, like, bro, I don't care if I'm spending $500,000. If I start making $250,000 a month, that's literally 2 months and I'm break even. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? I remember thinking about like, all right, if I spend over 6 figures, then in order to go and get my income back within the shortest period of time, I can go and make $100,000 a month. And by the end of the year, I've completely surpassed what it is I spent on my mindset, on my goals, on my dreams. And honestly, y'all, to actually like see and keep track of how much I've spent, I say this all the time. And like for those who are brand new to Squad or haven't or can't recall or didn't hear me say this before, but like when I say I've spent well over $150,000 in my brain, it's not just some random number that I've made up. I've literally tracked exactly how much dollar every penny that I've spent on flights, on hotel rooms, on seminar tickets, on food while I'm outside there as well, on books, on things that attribute to myself. And it's not just like something that I randomly say, it's something that I've completely invested myself in because I understood that where you find a man's treasure, there too you'll find his heart. And you don't get what you want, you get who you are. And in the process, y'all, I was so frustrated with my career. Like, y'all, I spent 5 years, going on 5.5, 6 years, until I started making passive residual income over $150 a month. It's literally wild. And I had no idea that it would take that long. But I remember from jump, like, telling individuals, like, I don't care if this takes me 10 months or 10 years, like, this is what I'm doing because I understand that it's going. And y'all, just be mindful of what you say, because it'll literally play out in front of you, and God gonna see if you really about that. And through the process, I'm in year 8, and I find myself in position for a promise that I genuinely used to pray about. Being with a organization like this, it literally made me understand that because I wrote out what it is I wanted in the present tense, and I got extremely specific about what that looked like, and then I played it over and over and over again, and I continuously do that on a daily basis, then it's already mine. I have it written down, and no one can take that away from me. As we've all heard from either previous mentors or we've told mentees, like, the moment you put yourself there, you're able to reverse engineer the process and literally just understand that every step that you're taking, because you understand where you're going, is in the right direction. You just got to be mindful that it doesn't matter how long it takes. Just know exactly what will happen when you get there. And I think the biggest part, that the last thing I really want to touch on, is you have to overcome in chapter 4 the fear and the doubt. He says that nothing great has ever been accomplished in a state of hesitation. Hesitation is a poor state to be in if you are trying to lead a company, attract people, or raise money. And I think that's everyone here on this call. Like, even if you just want to attract money, I'm sorry, you're not going to do so in hesitation. You've got to move in a bold conviction and understanding that you're headed in the right direction. He said that committed leaders can quickly and easily attract other leaders. Teams grow fast in a fearless state. In fact, when a leadership team carries out its mission with sincere and determined action, the laws of logic seem to evaporate into thin air. This is how individuals and companies do the impossible. And shout out God, shout out Faith, because he's been literally helping us do the impossible, operating on the amount of resources and things that he's given us through the connections and relationships we've developed over the years. You've got to recognize that the way that he talks about in this chapter of getting over that negative talk that people were pouring into him while he was sharing his dreams, the doubt and the fear that was coming up within him as he was imagining himself doing what he needed to do, he got around winners. He got around winners, y'all. And it made me think of the biggest pivot moment of my career. It's right before I met Mikhail. And I recognized that if I did not decide to move in complete faith from that moment forward, there's no way I would have attracted an opportunity where one of the goats of the industry and his wife sat across from me at a personal development seminar on a random, you could say random, I don't think it's random, but on a lunch in the middle of a summer day 4 years ago in July. Like, the only reason, but y'all, I went to a seminar and I really believe in investing in myself. Like I said, I've spent a lot of bread, and I would book an event from an event. We called it Bat Fat. Book a training from a training, quit playing. I made sure I came to the event with the income I needed so that I got the next ticket at the early bird price. I'm in the room. And I actually won a dinner with my rich dad, Mr. Marcusetta, and at the time, the CEO and the president of the lifestyle department within that company, and they paid for the entire meal. When I say that, like, as this man Jordan talked about, sitting next to people who were making $10,000 to $60,000 a month, his mindset expanded, and he started to recognize that they were just like him. I remember coming home and having a conversation with my mom, and I was like, it's crazy, because I was literally selling lotions and potions, y'all. I had no idea how I was going to get to where I really wanted to go. But I knew that I wanted the lifestyle and that I was destined for it. I just didn't know when or how. I just knew the what I wanted and the why I wanted it and who I was doing it for. And I sat at that table completely mind blown because Marcus Setta taught me a lot growing up. And the biggest thing he allowed me to understand was the greatest and worst part about success is a little taste of it. Because once you get it, you decide whether or not you get more of it. And that is why they literally tell you, like, if you want a car, go and test drive it. If you want to go and see your, like, actually get in your dream home, go and view those houses and actually be in tune and visualize it and surround yourself with it. From that table, I literally told my mom, I was like, all I could think about as I had a nice glass of wine, nice glass of whiskey. When they said they were paying for everything, I had a surf and turf, you know what I'm saying, steak, lobster, gave me a side of Brussels sprouts. Like, I was in there. I remember everything to a T. And it was crazy because ain't nobody that was offering or vibing from the corporate side was looking at the right side of the menu. And for those who understand what I'm talking about, they were not looking at the price. They looked at what they wanted on the left side of the menu and they ordered. And when I was like, are you sure I can? They're like, dude, order whatever you want. I had the opportunity to see how they mastermind and communicated. I had the opportunity to ask questions and literally, as Jordan talked about, learn in that scenario. And from that moment on, I moved different. My belief was completely changed. And that's why I'm a broken record, y'all. All you need is to thoroughly and fully believe that it is capable and that you are deserving of the life that you want. And the moment I started actually moving in that level of belief is when I got the results I was seeking. Met a mentor. Again, the mentor don't show up till you're ready. I applied what the mentor said. I made myself around the mentor. I learned and I kept it pushing. From that, we grew, we developed. I was able to literally impact my family, my community. And as we've been growing and developing, now we've all been able to have a higher access to more mentors. And previous mentors that I used to have, I now get to add value to and not only continually learn from, but also guide throughout the process. Shout out, Miss Amber. Appreciate you, girl. But it's honestly surreal to read this book because it brings me all the way back. And I just want to like beat it in everybody's head who's actually listening and who can pay attention to the sound of my voice. Belief is required. And in order to overcome the doubt that is in your head or the doubt that gets planted by the people who are settling for less than their potential, you've got to surround yourself by people that will literally pour into you. And as Imani said, talk you and encourage you with the dreams and the goals and the aspirations you have. But more importantly, make you recognize that there's nothing different between them and you other than a willingness to apply some knowledge that you have the same access to. You just got to move in the belief. And it was extremely powerful to see how like he was in trial and error until he started believing fully. And it really came with him going and having a dinner when he was making less than $200 a month. And it was kind of wild because at the time I hadn't even made passively over $80 a month in residual income at that point. But I was around some of the legends of the industry and I got to fully grasp what it looked like to be around a level of success that I dreamed about. You know what I'm saying? Chopping it up with billionaires. They weren't even millionaires, bro. Like whole different perspective, whole different lifestyle. And all I know is the only reason why I was placed in a scenario like that is because I constantly sought it. I constantly looked. And even though I did not expect to have a dinner that evening with my mentor, with my rich dad, quote unquote, Mr. Marcus Setta, I did the things that God had asked me to do. And he put me in the position. And I was just grateful to be able to respond. So I'm sorry I was a big emotional baby today. It's just wild, fam. It is literally wild how impactful it is whenever you move in purpose, on purpose, and you recognize the value of the individuals you are around or have the opportunity to be around as well. So I love you guys. I'm very excited for the rest of this book. It's going to be something serious. This man Jordan goes crazy. But I hope you guys have a good rest of y'all's day, and I'll pass this thing to. Let's go to Don. Oh, I was like, did Donnie boy leave? Never mind. There he is. There he is. There he is. Donnie, you got it, bro. If not, Mama, you can take it.
I'll go. I may be emotional too. Just saying. This book is definitely what Marcus has shown me from his beginning. Yeah, this is, I can't even get the words out, guys. To the T, what Jordan put in this book is exactly what Marcus has shown me. And coming from, old school, my motto used to be, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I was playing myself so many years. I played myself because I thought somebody from my background does not deserve to be in rooms with people who I've never come face to face with. Again, like we said last book club, I never read a book outside of high school until I joined TGF. I never wrote down goals, ever. That was not something that I did until I became a member of TGF. My faith was not where it should be until I joined TGF. And the belief in myself, I know that I definitely, I know I could do this, and where our cards are all handed differently. You just have to believe in yourself, even when you feel like you can't believe in yourself. I've had to borrow some beliefs, because when the clouds get too thick in my point of view and I feel like I can't get my head out of them, either Marcus, Matthew, Mikkel, Nito, whoever, Donnie, they always lift me up and tell me that I can do it. My plate is full. Everybody's plate is full. But everything in this book, I don't even want a lot of money. I don't even know. I just want to grow with my family. I just want to see my kids succeed. And I want to be able to help change other people's lives and how they think, especially people of my age, because there's a lot of us out here who, like Amber said, she used to get mad at her parents because they didn't know, or, we only knew what we knew. And I've learned that you can do what you want to do, as long as it's what you talk about. It's your positivity. It's, not being so down on yourself when you don't know certain things. I'm in my mid-40s, and I never thought that I would be able to learn day trading, and I still don't know everything about it. I still don't know everything about network marketing. I still don't know, everything about how this business works, but we've been blessed enough to be able to have a community to where they are willing to put their necks out. They've paved the way, so that way we didn't have to go through the trenches the way they did, and shout out to the leaders, because you don't find good people out there like that who want to help others. And we've got it right here. We've got it right here. This book is I can't wait to read the rest. And I was just like, my years in entrepreneurship are definitely not something that I could relate to this book in the beginning, but Marcus came to mind, Mikkel came to mind. Like, they've been through it. I've seen Marcus through the beginning till now, and it's rough. It's rough, but this man is still standing with his faith, with his belief. And what kind of person would I be if I sat there and played my violin on all the issues and problems that I have just to give up? So I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for everybody on this call, because yeah, Mikkel, you are right. This is one of them ones. I haven't been on one in a minute, but this book is amazing. So thank y'all for hearing me out. And sorry. Let me go to, I guess Donnie's gone. Samuel, do you want to go?
Man, y'all gonna make me cry and then call on me? Oh, I see how it is. Man, like I say, much love, just showing like true strength and being so vulnerable, and that's what this is all about. I mean, you know, like you were saying, just to tie back to the book, I mean, we don't know if what's his name, the author was going off of on his own and going through all the troubles, and I listened to it a couple of times, try to just really pick up the things that weren't like the top topics. And an underlying message that was kind of going throughout was, of course the consistency is key, but what he kind of touched on lightly was his persistency. He was persistent through, like Mikhail brought out, he was spending tens of thousands of dollars on products, on startups, just to just to crash, just the company to go under. So, but he had the bug of network marketing. He just believed in himself, and he succeeded. So just coming from like an everyday person, just knows that there's bigger thinking out there. And before, like before you were saying, before TGF, like I thought, my parents weren't financial literate, nobody taught us this, and I thought I was thinking big. I was at Walmart warehouse, gonna retire there with the 401k IRA. Like I had my retirement plan. So, but even then, I think about it now. In that moment, I was thinking, man, I'm thinking big. I'm thinking towards the future. Like, but then I sit back now and I'm thinking, I was going to give 40 years to a company before I even saw that. So now just being in, these rooms, and with what, just so thankful to TGF for opening my eyes to think bigger. And then just to tie it back to this book with Beach Money, the power of network marketing. I mean, he's gonna I forgot to, I was listening to it at work, and it kind of tied into chapter 6. So just a little preview, like he will give you like step by step like things that you could hit. Like this book is going to be great, like I can say that. So, but just for the first 5 chapters, and then what everyone was saying is just, man, it was so tough to make me emotional and make me talk, yo. Like I just got to say much love. Like I'm excited. Like that's all I got. Thank you guys.
Hey brother, you can popcorn whoever hasn't gone. I know it's Jason who's on here. And then Miss Tia still. She's probably gonna get mad that I said her name, but it's all good. She's available as well, bro. You could choose whoever. Miss Tia still is available though.
Yes, let's go, Miss T. Popcorn, yeah, let's go.
But yeah, Sam, you could popcorn whoever, bro.
Did you hear me? Let me see. Yeah, who didn't go, Miss? You said Miss Tia? Yeah, please, if you're available.
Miss Tia. If Tia can't go, then Jason, you got the floor, bro. Yeah, Tia says she unavailable. That man outside. What's up, bro?
Yo, can y'all hear me? All right, cool. Sorry, I had to turn I'm on my lawnmower right now. I'm gonna get under this. I'm gonna get under this tree real quick so I got some shade. Boy, it's busting out here. It's hot. Ugh, got some nice flowers in these trees though. They look nice. So, um, I haven't read the book yet at all, but I do want to just reiterate what Marcus, Mikkel, Mom Mary, and everybody was saying. Um, one thing that you are gonna face, and I don't want nobody to actually think that y'all are not gonna face this, is your own doubt. And I have to say that there has been plenty of times in like the last year and like a year and 3 months that I've been doing this. Of course, there has been doubt. I mean, like I'll always be honest and transparent with y'all. Um, like I'm a husband. I have a lot of weight on my shoulders. I care for my mother. I care for my little sister as well. So every decision that I make can make or break my family. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people depend on me. So like when you take your steps, when you take your steps, make sure that they're measured. Meaning know how much you're gonna put into it and then add some more. Because if you're not willing to sacrifice anything, you're not gonna accomplish anything at all in your life. And it does make you emotional because that you see how much that you want to help somebody, but and then you get to that point to where like they're not even willing to help themselves. So you have to make that sacrifice to help them, even though they don't even want the help. And everybody who's married, like you can even you can think about those times to where like even you and your spouse are talking, and then y'all are having disagreements on certain things, and like, well, why are you doing this if they're not doing that? Or if they're not doing this, why are you doing that? It's just like it's not even it was it's not about who's doing what. It's about making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to when nobody's looking. It's having that integrity for your family. It's having that integrity for your team. It's having your integrity for your network. You know what I mean? Just because you don't notice someone doing something that I didn't want to do, but I do regardless. And I do that. It's choppy. Can y'all hear me? I'm lagging out. Let me see if I turn that off. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Okay, y'all can hear me? Okay, there's gonna be times to where that the sacrifices that you make, you're not gonna see any fruits of your labor the moment that you start. It's like planting a seed. A farmer can't expect to see his crop grow the moment that he plants it. You know what I mean? And I no longer want to take that easy route out of things because I've planted here.
I think Jason's signal has been cutting in and out. I thought it was literally just my Wi-Fi because y'all know how my computer be tripping. But all is
What
good. Bro,
I
Jason.
am trying to
Oh, all right. Well, bro, Jason, we love you, bro. We appreciate you. No worries, man. We know you moving and grooving, and I'm excited for you to dive into the book, bro. It's a quick read. And moving into the process of what we got going next week. I believe it's chapters 6 through 10. If you go in the events, it'll be detailed out for you there. In those events, the entire book is laid out, and we'll touch base on that. Y'all, I appreciate everybody hopping in. This has definitely been one of them ones, and all the insight, the value, the gems. I'm excited to see exactly how the information in the book helps people take things to the next level. What's amazing about network marketing is these skills are applicable in every aspect of your life. Shout out Donnie from yesterday's values or big shot call, where he didn't just go into what he educates on the platform. He literally went into the mindset and the skill sets that you gain within this industry and how it's you can literally apply in every area of your life. So I can't wait to see the elevation occur in everyone's day to day. Y'all already know the vibes. If you need me, reach out to me. Do not take the easy route. Many people are there instead. Take the path less taken because you'll find others who want more for themselves. You could partner with AKA TGF Network. Shout out my boy Jason. I love you guys. I'm grateful and I'm thankful. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's evening, okay? Or day. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace, fam.